Hello, everyone. Good evening, and we are here with the final. Well, not the final, the last semi-final matchup for season one of Budget Battle. It is, yeah, it's been a journey. Seen quite a lot of teams enter. 24. We're left with two in after this matchup anyway. But tonight is, of course, going to be quite a spectacle. So Artorias Lewa, best of five. Which, by the way, just if you didn't catch Budget Battle's gimmick, you have $50 to spend on the perks, and it will be throughout all 5 sets. So yeah, we're starting with Nurse. This was Leo's pick, and we got off to a pretty fast start. We actually found our first survivor. The looping main well though, and it's not going to be it's going to be a swing and a miss from two guy there. So yeah, wow, okay, nicely done. But I guess I should introduce the cast I'm with. So I'm Tavi. I'm here with Ghosty. How are you doing, Ghosty?
I'm doing well, Todd, and I'm pretty excited for this setup with a nurse set to start things off and a very juicy looking build. I'm wondering if a bit of our funds went into this one for our killer side with Pop Eruption, Turn Back the Clock, and Corrupt. A very nice, good build that you probably see a bit often with nurses nowadays. I don't think Pain Rose is usually legal for this kill anymore from what I'm aware of in the strongest killer currently in the game. It would not surprise me since Pain Rose is usually not allowed on Blight, so it doesn't surprise me if it's also not allowed on Nurse, since Nurse is still holding that top of the tier list as the strongest killer currently in the game. Some may argue Blight has taken that throne with the mobility, but nonetheless, this killer does just remove majority of the game mechanics from our survivors, and that was a very nice little one blink hit on our Nia. This is a tip I'm aware of as well. I've seen a lot from Artorias, and I've had some good running-ins with them. Very good team. Lirasanmarine, though, also another very, very strong team, and I can see why they possibly picked this set for their starting with the Nurse. Very high explosive set, can have some very quick downs with the blanks to avoid problematic things like windows and pallets if you can't break that line of sight, but off to a pretty good start on the trial. Turn back the clock in, apply to, I think that was our general on the 3 side. Quick little cook as well towards the bottom side, which it looks like this is more of our generators locations with the somewhat nicer 3-gen setup, even though we do have a 4-gen on the top side. If we lose that sort of 11-1 main 3-gen, which a nurse can hold very comfortably, that bottom side is still quite nice, but we do also have pop in hand to go smack onto a generator, and it looks like we're maybe going over towards our 10 side. May have seen, yes, some scratch marks as well, leading away. I believe this is doomed the time up in the second. Actually, I'm a bit on the tight side, but this is the second down of the trial for first gen popping. We did get the unhook thankfully onto our Neo, and we've run in the undetectable add-on, so the comms are going to have to be pretty on point so we know where Zar is at all time, since you definitely don't want to be getting caught off with a nurse. But overall, a very nice start to the best of 5 match that we have planned for you. We have some explosive killers coming up after this as well. I'm seeing the Bubba, Cannibal, Dredge, my personal favorite, Wonder Why, Ghostface, and the Tiebreaker of the Demogorgon. So some really good sets for this best of 5, but we're off to a pretty good start, what you'd expect to see. Waiting for our eruption to be online so we can apply it to our gen on the 3 side. Second hook of the trial secured, and our survivors is sort of looking around to try and get an unhook coming through. Do get the pull on ace while we're in fatigue, so are able to make some nice distance, and that's a very safe unhook to go through. So we're gonna have to just sort of play our lives the best that we can on the bottom side. But as you mentioned, Tyler, this is budget battle, so our players may not have as many perks or the exact perks they will be wanting in a nurse set unless they put a lot of their budget into this. Doomby now when Chase unfortunately goes down on the 7 side, so this will be the third fresh hook of the trial. So Lirasanmarine's kill off to a pretty good start, I'd say. Tavi's third hook on the board coming through by the water tower. Not crazy amounts of gem pressure on the board, and it looks like we're going for a drag up to potentially look at maybe holding off the top side 3-gen, which I still think is a pretty good play overall, especially with this top front main hook in the middle of it as well. Could lead to some problems for the survivors, especially with a tag onto Brawled on the top side of main. Didn't hear the scrim, so I believe this will be a balanced play. Yes, making a good amount of distance toward that bottom side, but we're going to have to cook up some gassy chases at the moment, because we're looking at another down onto Brawled for our 4th fresh, and we are still at 4 generators on the board at the moment.
Yeah, usually you don't see too many nurses in competitive go for the fresh hooks, but in this case, I guess Tuha maybe has made the same conclusion that we have on the casting desk, that, you know, considering that it's not just completely S tiers throughout the entire night, if the survivors were to bring a build that consisted of very high high tier perks, as in like expensive perks that were really strong on the nurse set, they wouldn't have very much for the rest of the remaining 4 sets. And yeah, that's I think probably the reason why we see so many thresholds rather than come out, because all the second chance perks I think are going to be not present on the builds, as we can see from sorry, that was Goblin, I believe, being chased. We got some confirmation on the back end. There was barely anything except the live available for him there, and he's hitting second hook already. So I'm again fairly surprised that this has happened, considering that 5 hooks have happened, and there's of course 4 different survivors. But again, I gotta think about the perks that are brought in. Very few of them I think are going to be worth a lot, apart from the Deja Vu. So yeah, there's that second gen popping. That is Shack, so I think that means our survivors are left with the 3 gen topside still, which is fairly breakable. But usually, usually you would be able to break it if you have a lot of second chance perks to delay the tunnel outs even more. Oh dear, Goblin, don't run into the killer. Don't run into it too hard, please. And even though you get light there, I don't know how much distance that is, because that is a 1 blink, and that's probably trouble, because Goblin is final hook here, just has enough distance though to make the turn of the main building. I think, yeah, this trial definitely looking in Tuhar's favor at the moment. Nothing Goblin can really do because of the distance that is, distance that is brought here. So they're just going to down hook, and although the resets happen in the distance, I just don't know if there's a lot of pressure around the board. I feel like Artorias spent a lot of this time just, being on the reactive end, reacting to Tuhar's quick blinks, quick downs, and they had to go for the resets just then, which cost them a lot of time, meaning that I really don't think the gens have a lot of progress. And even if they were progressed, probably none of them are on this top side of the map, which is looking really difficult to break at the moment, considering it's a 4 gen. So yeah, very difficult for them. Though, I mean, at least though, Ghosty, they do have 3 healthies in the trial, so they might be able to do some stalling plays. Though I wouldn't expect Artorias to do that. I feel like they'll play a little bit more aggressive on the generators, even though they don't have a lot of strong perks apart from exhaustions, because I just feel like yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling they'll play very aggressively. Actually, that is going to be Kerdok taking the tag, and I think it's just a fast 2 tap. Okay. I was gonna say very fortunate to make that, but it's unfortunately not enough distance. So they're just going back on the hook, and they're actually, since they've been hooked before, Tuhar can technically camp this. I think he just wants to secure 4 game because this is just so good for Tuhar, which is like, we didn't even mention a Ghosty, but this build is like crazy. This build is crazy on the
Yeah, no, like we've got some really nice heavy regression with the eruption, with the pop and turnback as well. Corrupt obviously is just for that early game, but some really nasty regression for our first loadout on the nurse. So it makes me wonder a little bit if, depending on the pricings of the person, this might come back to haunt Lirasan a little bit, since this is a lot of fun potentially spent on this nurse killer build. They have the $50, I believe it is, to spend on the best of 5, but that's another very quick down onto Doomby, and we still have this 4 gen topside, which, granted, the survivors of Artorias are starting to put some pressure across the board, which they need at the moment with the lack of the earlier one for the kill onto the Nia. It's looking like we're in a very comfortable position, and maybe we could have afforded not to maybe spend as much of the funds on a build of this caliber, because it is still nursed, a very strong killer. And with playing into these thresholds the way it is and the way the match has gone, we may have actually been able to spend a little bit less of the funds on this nurse build. But in saying that, it could be just to make sure that they have a really strong start in, and just with some of the sets, like I mentioned before, like the Cannibal, Dredge, and Ghostface sets, maybe we're opting to like save some funds around those sets, maybe even if it does hit the tiebreaker on the Demogorgon set. So maybe trying to get that early start, make sure they lock in a first set win, and then just sort of played a bit more bit more weaker, I would say, with builds throughout the rest of the best of 5. But that's another nice tag onto Brotherhood. And I do believe Brother was actually the balanced landing gamer, so he's going to be able to make a lot of distance over towards the 5 side. But it is a nurse. They can close the gap incredibly quickly, and a beautiful 2-link does secure the down onto Bridlord. We're playing a bit of the friendly killer gameplay, I have to say. And, well, that is an unfortunate missed skill check, so we now know where our ace is for our 2-har on the nurse side. So we need to be careful that we don't get caught off. And I think our undetectable has run out, unfortunately, so we're not going to get the surprise of it. But we are just straight up doubling the gen. We can't do that when turn back the clock is in play, because you can't stick a gen with turn back in play. And Doom is also injured as well, so that is a 4K3 secured. I swear, people get caught off by turn back the clock so often because you can't stick the gem when that perk is in play. And with the hook on the Brylord, that allowed 2-har to have the perk on hand to deny that commit to the gem, which normally speaking, yes, if turn back wasn't in play, that gem would most likely have popped, and that would have been a 4K2 as a worst case result. But with turn back the clock and the remaining 2 survivors injured, exactly what we just saw happens. You can't. And welcome back all. Second game of our best of 5 between Artorias and Lirasanmarine. Lirasanmarine's 2-har putting a very strong result with, I believe it was a 4K3 on their nurse set. So definitely going to be applying that pressure for Artorias. And I'm a bit intrigued. Are we potentially playing 3 to 2 perk nurse? Because with this gimmick for this season being the budget battle with our limited funds to buy perks, we've brought Sloppy Butcher. Maybe it's just a cheap sort of like put it away perk just to save some funds, but from what I know, I believe we shouldn't be getting crazy amounts of value from Sloppy Sins unless we just get an M1 into a blink. Our blink attacks, if I'm not mistaken, Tavi, will not apply Sloppy, so I'm assuming that Brylord is just opting just to have like a sort of a cheaper build going down the line in the sets compared to the very strong build we saw to bring into the play. But that was a very, very quick down to start things off onto, I think that's LZY. I'm not really surprised I'm seeing them again after another recent match that I saw him in, but yeah, very quick down. We've applied our eruption on the bottom 7 gen, and we are pretty much immediately almost back into chase again, as it looks like we're crossing back around to the top side. I think maybe trying to rotate for the unhook, but Brylord's still nearby, so that can't come through. But yeah, off to a good start, I think, considering that you do need that 4K4 to win the set, or at least the 4K3 to tie the set. So, very good stuff on both sides, but yeah, Sloppy Butcher. I'm guessing it's mostly a saved money perk, because yeah, I don't think there'd be too much value out of that during this set.
Yeah, you're reminding me of a certain time where I unironically saw Sloppy Butcher in the nurse set very recently in the best of 3. That was funny to see. On nurse, man, on nurse. I think you're completely correct here. You're just what am I trying to say? Yeah, you're correct. It's like just trying to save money. Sloppy Butcher, cost $1 compared to previously we saw 2-har bring turn back the clock. And the difference, I think, is that it's also going to get value in the late trials. So we've also got Dredge and Ghostface coming up. So it's kind of the long-term, maybe not even long-term investment, just like a thought-through investment from Artorias. So we'll have to see how that goes throughout the series, of course. It's not going to get much value in the nurse trial because they did nerf nurse. So at the moment, though, maybe Brylord might just struggle to get a tag with them too. It seems like he's just doing a beautiful job around the main building. Somehow, Brylord's just missing the blinks again. And this is a lot of time for our survivors. They already got 1 gen done in the distance, and Brylord is not interested in chasing around main anymore. Tries to rotate through mid, sees a survivor running away, maybe sees somebody else, but not really, again, not interested in chasing. I'm curious to know why this is the case. He's gonna swing and miss too, which is, again, another huge deal because this is just 3 time for survivors for pretty much no cost whatsoever, because Brylord's just not really been able to follow up on that beautiful stun, that beautiful first down which came through. Not really able to continue getting downs or even injuries past this point because, well, that one was reset already. So you catch out our next survivor around main, but they are safe around the edge map. This is beautiful work of the edge map for Sentry. And I don't think you'll see too much edge map play. I think he's just going to take the distance, hopefully not that one blink here. That would be a little bit suboptimal, but Brylord a little bit greedy, swings, does not make that though, and Sentry is just making his way down the map. It just seems like really over at this point. Barlow's getting juked again, and it's, yeah, I don't know. I just think that there's no way that 2 gens do not pop in the next bit of time. There's one of them popping at the bottom side, and the next one's very, very short to follow, I would guess. Even though Sentry gets tagged here, seems all but too late for that to come through, and yeah, that probably should just secure this side. That's just Barlord maybe not confident on Nurse, which I guess is fair. You know, they didn't pick the set, so they can head into the next set maybe with a bit more of an idea of what they want, which is Cannibal. So anyway, there's still a bit of play though, because the last time was involved, I still think it's just really very little way that Bolo gets into it. But I did want to talk about the build that we saw on Sentry. I think we saw head-on and decisive strike on the Sentry. So that means that they've decided to invest in quite a few. Like they have thought about not bringing everything to the Nurse. Wait, hold on, what am I trying to say? They've thought about, you know, bringing specific perks for the Nurse set only. Yeah, see, we have Deliverance here as well on Nancy. So yeah, Roy has Deliverance. Sentry had Decisive Strike. So they really thought about this Nurse set. They really wanted it to be a strong set for them. I don't think they really needed it though, funnily enough. Which means that they'll go into the rest of the sets with a bit of a disadvantage because they won't be available in the next sets. But yeah, they've won the Nurse set, so they have successfully completed, I guess, stage 1 of their plan. I guess, yeah, now it's just up to Artorias to try strike back. But Barlow's still got some play left, of course, in this trial. So, yeah, I don't know. Speaking, I guess, Sentry's gonna get tagged around main. Main's not got much progress. I think this Gen split is not really holdable. Ghosty is just like no way it's holdable. So I think we're looking at a fairly low stage game, I'd say. So yeah, well done to Lery here, because this was a really, really well played trial by them.
Yeah, no, I can understand maybe why Lirasan was looking at trying to like put some investment into a Nurse set, since granted it's Nurse, but you don't want to spend too much funds, but it can be a set that you, obviously if you've picked it, you want to guarantee a win, but the killer is still very strong in its own right, so maybe just that whole, let's make sure that we invested a little bit more in case the results weren't the greatest, so they had that extra footing to play for. Could have been maybe the play, but with the result that was given, and unfortunately Bryla not having that momentum after the first really good down, like where credit where it's a very good down that Bryla got at the start, it's not able to capitalize and continue that momentum, but we get a very nice down onto Sentry along the 9 side of Coltel, but yeah, this Gen split, it's definitely looking like one of those unholdable situations. If it was a different killer, like something like Ghoul or Blight, maybe a different story, even if this is an Oni set, may be able to do, but even for the killers with their levels of mobility, even a split, this is a very difficult situation to hold. But obviously, if Lirasan did want to invest into this Nurse set, just to make sure that if things didn't go their way, they had the strong enough purse to be able to push through if the result wasn't what it is now. Fair play, like they're confident in their upcoming set, but just want to make sure that if it didn't go their way, they had that bit of extra funding in this set to allow them to have a bit of ease with it, but unfortunately it may come back to haunt them a little bit because they managed to get a very strong win condition and Bryla was not able to keep up the momentum that they had at the start, which is unfortunate. But a very good shape from Center at the start on the top side did secure a lot of pressure, and basically after that, when the reset came through as well, that pretty much spelled the end for Brylord's run in this Nurse set. But another down onto Sentry, very nice to see. Nancy did get picked up on the bottom side, and we had put one LZY up on the bottom side with, I think that was Sprint Burst. So yeah, we've invested quite a lot into this set with Deliverance as well. Yeah, we've got Visionary, I believe, and Winner's Opportunity, so those are probably like the more budget side of things, but Sprint Burst, one of those, I believe, more costly perks, so hopefully it doesn't come back and, you know, cause a bit of issues later on, but once again, this is another nice chase being put on at the moment. Good little double back avoiding the double blink hit, so Brawler's going to lose power for the time being, and most likely at this point, probably just have to either commit to this chase and just get those extra stages, as we're not going to be able to hold the split that we have with the bottom 6 and main building gen. or try and get some injuries. And you can see, like, Brawler knows that, like, the set is over. There's some Novas coming from both sides. It's tough, but this is only set 1, and I know that knowing a bit of insight on Brawlord, he's a bit of a demon when it comes to bubble, so I think that's where Artorias will be able to pull things back a little bit, get a 7 on the board so that we don't get a 2-0 situation. Very nice tag onto Sentry after the down onto our Quan, and yeah, overall, pretty good for Command. And another follow-up blink gets it down onto Sentry as well. This is the blinks that we needed to see very much earlier on so that we could have, you know, kept the momentum going and potentially played for that 4K3 Tycon, but as we see, our Nancy was able to pop that last generator and get to the end game. And it is looking like pretty decent stages considering the stuff we had. Nancy getting, I think, a bit stuck on the trees actually, or doing some circles around. I'd almost say that's fashion, but it looks like we're doing the very slow controller walks. Brawlord giving Nancy some back shots as we know the set is over, taking a quick tag, and we should see a very quick blink. Hit through the pallet, reading though very nicely, so we avoid the blink attack as well and can make it back down towards Shaq. All of our survivors are back up. We'll probably see a retail on the Sentry very shortly, and unfortunately Nancy does not have much more to play. Gets down on the base instead, and I'm pretty sure Brawler will just take Nancy down to the basement and probably secure the kill there. No, dragging back up towards the bottom mid side. I probably would have just taken the basement here and then called it quits there. Brawler giving some nopers, so I believe that was Sentry to be like, nope, let me have this up please. Like, I just want this up, thank you very much. But yeah, rough start for Artorias. Maybe it's just their confidence in the nurse isn't quite there. Very fast pull onto Nancy though, so we're looking at getting all of our sliders out now. I don't know if we have both of our blinks in hand. We have both of our blinks in hand, but we unfortunately missed our first blink and we have to wait for that to recharge. Getting some spins going, trying to go with this style, but head on at Water Tower delays it even more. So it's just going to be, can Nancy make it down to Hatch, since I don't think we're going to be making it up to the top gate, and hit taking against the nurse, relatively impossible. But Nancy is our balance landing gamer, and I think we have another survivor still supporting us. It takes, I think, maybe having any confidence on the hill? No, they're still stealthing towards the mid side. Nancy's making a desperate dash with Sentry running up alongside to try and help with some support. But Brawler's put on the hills, and I think this will be the down, so at least at this stage, we will be securing at least a kill, but Brawler knows there's some people around, so we could see some beamers around trying to deny this kill, but no angles. We will be getting at least a kill for this set, and moving in, we will be going into Artorias' set pick, which is where they can maybe bring some momentum back. Nurse isn't the easiest killer to play though, I would have to say. I'm not really worth too much. I got 0 stage, which felt definitely amazing, but not the easiest killer to play, and I know Lirasanmarine have been around for quite some time, so nurse sets are probably definitely in there for.
Hello everyone, welcome back from a very brief intermission. The lobby just got set up, sorry, just got readied up, I mean. Royzus did click the ready button, and now we are loading into our second set for tonight of the best of 5, which is the Cannibal. So, okay, actually a different build coming through. I'm actually surprised by this. Ghosty, I'm quite surprised by this because Brawlord, I guess, decides that Agitation is worth bringing to this set, but is not worth bringing to the Nurse set, which is, oh wait, hold on, it's banned on that. That makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I was curious to see whether Artorias, with all the survivor perks being really weak, that they saved money on the killer side to maybe bring some specific tech perks, and it seems like they have, because Brawlord has decided Agitation is the perfect choice to bring to this next trial. And Royzus actually might not be able to make anything. Doesn't actually make the window in time. Brawlord can't make the sword through the window, and that is a huge amount of distance for Royzus to start off this trial. That is a very, very costly. Okay, maybe not very, very costly, because now there's 2 other survivors around this area, but it could have been very, very costly face time for Brawlord, because that down would definitely not have occurred if there was not another survivor around. So he does get the down, and I think Sakuta does get dragged to the basement. There's actually someone coming through for the palisade, and maybe it's going to get baited out, but at least they avoided basement here. I still think so, Josie. This is a very early first down for Bubba, so I would still be happy in Brawlord's position. It's just like, well, you know, you're still down a set, so you want to make a good, what do you call it? You want to make a good result for the survivors. It's not getting the moonsaw off. You know, I would try that, but unfortunately, I guess LZY is on top of it.
Yeah, no, you definitely want to be making sure that you guarantee this next set win, because you definitely don't want to be going 2-0 in a best of 5 setting. Good play from our Renato, though, to be set up at Shack to deny the base hook with agitation in play, but was still in a very nice spot. Just had enough BT to avoid the down air. That could have been catastrophic for Lirasan if that went through, because that would have been an immediate base hook with no chance of stopping that. But agitation, I see being just the charitable, like, we want to make sure we don't go 2-0 at this current stage. We want to have this set winning, so we're 1-1 going into this best of 5. And as we're seeing, Brawler does know the good mechanics with this kill. I've been very excited to see Brawler's brother. I have not seen it in a hot minute, so I love seeing the proper good flips with the brother, and we might actually win this to get on this window with the 2-0 makeshift on the 4th slate and get the door as well. So we're getting very quick downs, and from our position with agitation, this could be the base and hook that Brawler was looking for at the start. Was a very comfortable 3-gen setup along the outback area of the map behind Gallows. So this could be where problems start. Like, as you mentioned, Tavi, an average bubble set you'd be looking between the funny number 6 to 9 stages, but with a base and hook in play in this 3-gen, and I would say really useful. We also have that water tower generator, which obviously I don't think Brawler would be too inclined to care about more. He'd be more focused on this outback area 3-gen. This is where the stages can start piling up a little bit, so especially if we get another down onto our Renato here. If this is another down, this will be a second basing hook potentially for Brawler, and we are winning our plays around, getting the second down as well, going straight back towards Shaco just to make sure no one's sneaking through, but I don't think anyone will be here for this. We do see the scratch. Someone actually has sent it for the pull. I presume I will not be surprised if this is after that, because they were our head-on player, but now we're in a very, very tricky situation where Alpine needs to get out of basement. Our Claudette's in the basement. Renato was slogged in the outback. They haven't been able to slip through, but that's a lot of ubiquity on the gone. Still enough to avoid going down the Shack Pal, but that does cost the Shack Pal, and we now can just go down and pick up Claudette if we want to, while also clearing away the pallet. So yes, we've been able to get a survivor out of the basement, but we've just traded them for another. And in this time, we could potentially see, nope, Renato does get picked up, thankfully, so we don't have that slug in the outback. That could also potentially now be dragged for free to the basement with agitation. This is the start or setup that you want to be having. Ooh, but Nancy is already lurking around the shack to try and get out, or get their survivor out of the basement as soon as possible. Renato caught off in the deep corners of A. Hopefully, Brawler will be able to hear this for his side, because you definitely don't want to be getting caught out, and does get swatted off on the edge 8 side of the map. Big M1 coming through, but doesn't connect even with the ping in play. Brawler does see the unconflict. I think they have to try and commit to Renato here, make this area of the map a dead zone, and force Renato to stay in this 8-corner map, because even if you go all the way to lockdown here with agitation in play, this should be another basement hook. And we've only popped 1 gen, but looking now, we do have a gen with very, very high progress. Nancy is also on another generator as well, so we do have the gen pressure building up slowly, but we're back in this problematic situation of we have a hooked survivor in the basement. And thankfully, I did notice that I believe our Claudette did have head on, which is definitely the most optimal survivor, yes, to be going for those basement unhooks, so that even if they you just send an unhook survivor up early and the Bobber commits to the unhooker, they have head on to play for and try to get out of there. But Nancy playing the team, feels like very nicely, trying to get out the window roll and winning it as well. Slugging Nancy now to get back to the basement to make sure we haven't had any survivors sneak in for the unhook. Brother's in a very good position right now with the 2 remaining survivors both injured. A Deathhook survivor at 3. Yes, we do see some progress building up on that gen. I think it's on the 3 side, and we see the pressure starting to be, or the 3 gen that we are protecting mostly being attacked now on the 8 corner with our Claudette, but we are down 2 survivors at the moment, one of them being in the basement. And if Claudette gets caught out here, which we see the crows flying, so Brawler knows that there is a survivor nearby, this could be where the match potentially, or this set potentially ends here, because if we click down onto our Claudette, and if we manage to find our Quan, set's over. And with a hit like that, this is where I think the set could potentially be done and dusted.
Absolutely. Just the basement hook, Levi were not able to respond to that properly. I'm not entirely sure what the correct play is when the basement hook is available. I think really the only option is to try and force the pull, like sit someone in the face of the bubble, sit someone in the face of the cannibal, and be like, okay, if you move too far away from the basement, I'm unhooking. Just like play real aggressive. I feel like that's the only way that Lery could have gone out of this and also continue popping the gens, but just like that, one by one they start falling, caught out of position, caught rotating, whatever the unfortunate event is, they're just not able to, I guess, keep up with the slugging from Barlord. So yeah, 4k3 for Barlord will definitely be a relief, I would say, for Artorias, considering, number one, okay, it's their set pick, so as we both said, they do really want to win it, and also that this means that the survivor side of Artorias knows that they only need to pop a few gens. They can allow people to die in the basement. They can allow camps to happen if they get the gens as compensation. So that means that whoever plays the Cannibal on the reverse side for Lery has to play aggressive. They have to play very aggressive if they want to go for the Tycon. Actually,
And we are back for the second game of our second set for Artorias vs Lirasanmarine with a 4k3 result put up from Barlord for Artorias. Very, very strong result, especially with the basement tree, just to put that cherry on the top, for a Bubba set. So Artorias is looking definitely to try and push for the win in this set, but my god, what a juicy build we have from Lirasanmarine's killer. This is another bit of a more, I'd say, expensive side with the Pain Res, Eruption, Turnback, and Corrupt, so this is interesting. I'm a bit concerned for Lirasanmarine survivors, as I don't think we're going to have much funding left after this, considering that we did burn a lot in the nurse set as well, so obviously, talking about the game specifically, we need to pop 3 gens to take this set. If we get 3 gens done, Artorias will take this set and we will move into the third set 1-1, which is, I assume, what Artorias are aiming for at the moment, so that they're not sitting at 2-0. Barlord, our previous killer, does take a little bit of an aggro chase from our killer, but is not committing to this. They have, I believe, a nice 3-gen stall situation on the our backside once again, like we saw in the previous set, so Asep just playing it slow, getting rid of some resource, hopefully trying to get rid of resource, gets rid of the breakable door. But it looks like we have a nice little gen set up on the top side as well, but obviously main building is not upgrades to be initially normally taking chases, so we're going to be playing more for that bottom side. Barlord once again back in chase and really dropping that for Philip Pallet and greening up to the window. If we have enough time, we might get this hit, but we don't, even with being involved, using some walking to try and break the chase and avoid bloodlust becoming a problem. But this is the starting chase that you're going to be wanting to have in this set when all you've got to do is just get 3 gens popped, and that's the set 1. So this is a very strong starting point for Artorias and Barlord submitting the chase onto the water tower side. But we have Tantrum. I think that might have been an overheat on the source, so we have to go down for a little bit, but we only have this immediate pallet, which is our more safer pallet to play, and the saw is back online. We might get a backstop here. No, we managed to get the hit on the pallet stun on the water tower, so this is a very strong start from Artorias. Tavi, what are your thoughts on this? We only need to pop 3 generators, and Barlord hasn't even taken an M1 tag yet, and we're still able to play 50 around this floor power and winning it once again for the first gen, popping with 2 gens, also very high progress.
Yeah, this is just perhaps showing of, we pick our killer, you pick your killer kind of thing. But, Artorias, Barlord's nurse perhaps wasn't the most confident, but Xtap on the Bubba, even though, I've seen Xtap play a lot of killer throughout my, I guess I would say career as a caster. I've seen plenty of Xtap killer. I guess Bubba is not one of them, which is picked for a reason, because he's just not really able to, I guess, maybe master. Is not really has that polish on the Cannibal that I've seen him usually have on most other sets. So yeah, that's just Artorias taking the second set very decisively. Nurse set again. Nurse set went to Nurse set did go to Lery, then Artorias take their pick. So all right, but it's kind of interesting because the teams built their builds very much around having that first set, I think, going to them, where Lery had like at least $10 worth go into the nurse, and then on the flip side we have Artorias, who has like a lot more perks, but they're kind of like miscellaneous weak perks, so a bit more quantity over quality, which also does follow the rest of the sets for tonight, which makes some sense. But this is interesting to see it happen. Yeah, very decisive win by Artorias. Although this is going to be the vault back from Doobie, it doesn't really matter. All required gens are popped for the win con anyway. And Flashlight Save is attempted and actually missed. I think that's a bit of the ping coming through by our survivors. It's very unfortunate that didn't miss. And I didn't get a crash for a second, so maybe it's just my internet happening. Yeah, it's just well played. I guess Artorias is X-Tap doesn't really get anywhere close to the win con with the state of the Cannibal that he's playing. So yeah, I have to say though, this is definitely not anywhere close to over for Artorias Survivor side. Like they had a really good start, but they're kind of starting to like what do you call it? They are kind of like maybe dropping a bit of the ball right now. Somehow we found a lot of survivors and we're just all crowding up here. It seems like X-Tap though did not find Goblin who rotated in, so we're gonna take the down onto Doombie instead and just go for the pickup, which is I guess fine for our survivors, but they could still technically get 4K here if they are not careful. Yeah, I think it's also very interesting to note that not only did Warlord change out the Sloppy for Agitation, we also see X-Tap bringing in a different build too, which you did mention there, has the pain res over the, I think it was Popper the Weasel. So that's like, again, $5 more invested into the nurse, making it at least $15 for in the nurse set. So now this is not a win or it's not close to being tied or a win for Leo. I guess, yeah, I am curious to see if they do change up any more perks. I don't think that would be the answer though, because they've already spent a lot of money. So yeah, 4th gen will pop though. Doobie's gonna get caught out. That's just ping, I think. Not really much you could do there in that situation. And although he dies, I think the rest of the survivors are still in, I guess, an alright spot. Definitely though, definitely enough to beat the win combo. So I guess yeah, again, well done to Artorias for picking this.
Yeah, no, I was fairly like eager to see this set, and I felt like Artorias were very confident in this set, since this is one of those sets that I do know that they play a lot. But Bralord is getting caught off on the little Edge Knight 7 slide with the Paladin just running straight into the killer's face. So X-Tap will be like having a very good decision between either just a hook here or the basement as well. And in the 3v1, this is a very nice spot to be in. I think we did manage to pop most of the 3-gen setups we had, so we're down to this sort of looser 3-gen, but we do have Warlord's hook right in the middle of it, so this could be a concerning thing to have, especially with the down coming through. I believe this is onto Dawg as well, so 2 survivors down. Warlord does get unhooked and gets out of that 3-gen thankfully, but we can drag back down to this central sort of mid-street hook to be able to get the same sort of pressure that we had prior as well, but on a fresh hook survivor as well, so we can just check on our 3-gens from this point. Make sure that none of them basically getting wet because we turn back as well on hand. We're able to sort of just put a lot of pressure on the board at the moment. Also, we have managed to have that now. Stealthing around the stacks, I know we can try and early pick up potentially, but yeah, this is going to be another down. Nope, we've run out of chainsaw charges. That's an unfortunate turn of events there, so we definitely don't want to see that chainsaw go down to get not only a slug, but the hook inside the 3-gen, but this is where things get a bit spicy because we have all of our survivors injured at the moment and still a fairly holdable 3-gen, especially with turn back to Fock with that range kick that we can apply. But we do see a double up on the bottom side, trying to get this gen very high progress and force X-Tap to be really aggressive for this sort of area of the map, I should say, so that they can not let this generator pop. Yes, the winning position has been met, but we obviously still try and go for those best results, and it looks like we will be able to make it all the way back to Shack, so we won't be getting it down on the sword at that point, but we have to come back, give this generator a kick and apply our eruption to it, and then sort of just play for this region. If we have a relatively good chase, this will be where things go down, and we don't have Shack Pallet going for a window attack, but not working, so this will be where things backfire a little bit, because we can go straight back to that mid-hook again, or into a painter's hook if we have that on hand still for this down. The gens are starting to build up though. I think this gen at 3 was being left out, and Brother is still, I believe, lurking on that bottom side map as well on the 6th gen. Yes, this gen did get hit by Painter, so this is now our most progress gen. And we see the blood and scratch marks from the knee as well, but we don't want that. We are heading straight back to our unhookers. We were very close by, so this could be where we snowball some downs here, get 2 slab survives, and probably seal off at least a 4K1, but the possibility is still there for a 4K0, if not out at this stage, because we can't really afford a long chase here with that progress on that gen on the 3 side, even after it got hit with the pain res. We do have a lot of resources along this outback side, and we just need a good chase here. A good chase here will probably seal the deal and get the outs that we need. Except, unfortunately, either just dropping the chase here. I was about to say, it looks like we're mind gaming ourselves a little bit, but no, we've just dropped it and gone back towards this 7 filler pallet to break that and check on our gens again. So, very slow, methodical Bubba gameplay compared to what we saw before, where there was just a lot of basement hooks inside our really good 3 gen. So, gotta hand it to the Artorias boys. They've played the set quite nicely. Turn back the clock now being used to apply that regression onto the gen down to 3, but and it has Goblin has managed to send it all the way up to the top side of 1, so it's very safe at the moment, and the split is slowly starting to run out of time. We see Brylord, and I think maybe in Cuddle, if not just Brylord, working on this 6 gen again, stopping the regression, so we are also coming to that point where regression limit can come into play as well. We can only kick these generators so much and apply our regression so much before against he says, you know what, that's enough gen regression from you, no more of that. Getting a beautiful revolt on the pallet and avoiding the little ping saw onto the pallet, but honestly, with this down, I think at worst 4K0 here, Tavi. I think that's what we're looking at the moment.
I think Eruption is very close to securing a 4K1, but again, I don't think it's enough. I agree with you. Because Goblin's gen was very high, they've been sitting that, and Brawler's gen was also fairly high. There's no way that X-Stack can defend both of them without losing at least one. Well, you can't lose more than one, I guess, but that is, I guess, the final gen being completed, which does mean that Artorias can play for outs, so yeah, well played by them again. Oh, actually, never mind, it doesn't pop in time because Goblin did rotate a little bit earlier, so it's not going to get secured, but yeah, there's, I think, very little chance, given the Survivors' current setups, that they don't pop the last gen here, because they have strong tiles to loop still. They have plenty of distance between them and the killer, and it's just good enough to secure Eruption. Valor, though, you don't drop the pallet in time, and you're going down, which secures Eruption, but I still think X-Tap can't get to the gen in time before it does problem with the bonus it had before. So yeah, 4K0 has been picked by Ghosty, and that's, yeah, fairly solid result coming through by Artorias. So they, as we said before, they take this set, so it's currently 1-1. Call up to double check what the next set is. It is the Dredge, and Lery picked Dredge. So that is another quite unique set coming up for you all after this one does conclude. But I guess it's having a bit of a chase going on here. Goblin's doing a good job of looping X-Tap at the moment, and he's actually booked it all the way to main building. I don't think he can make anything too safe though. Maybe the main window vault. Yeah, there we go. The main building vault's gonna be made. But oh my gosh, actually, the medium vault is just enough. That mistake kind of was not punished by X-Tap because he did swing for that. Although I don't think it matters because he does just should just be going down. There's not much distance really. And yeah, that just concludes 4K0 for sure for X-Tap. And yeah, Dredge next. I think Dredge. Ooh, Dredge is quite. I think it could tip in anyone. Because Dredge, influence the very difficult set to play. So whoever's got more experience will just have to see after this.
Yeah, no, especially with Dredge, I believe, still to this day holding the highest kill rate out of, I think from memory, it's all of the killer pool, which is crazy to think when you've got killers like Nurse, Blight, Billy, Ghoul, Weskers that do put up some good results. Dredge, being a very low tier killer, still holding their own and able to hold, I believe, the highest kill rate in Dead by Daylight is impressive for a killer with low tier, but in saying that we do give Dredge that sort of legacy, so even though I wouldn't say it's their map, so I'm pretty sure from memory Dredge came with.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the third set of this series. Now, did have a bit of an intermission just to confirm something technical. We're back now, it's all resolved, nothing too major has happened between those times, and so we're just onto this third set of Dredge, which was picked by Lery. Sakuta actually taking the reins of the Dredge. I don't think I've seen Sakuta actually play killer that much. It's probably just me though, because you know, being on Lery probably means that they are very, very strong on the killers that they play. So yeah, build though, build-wise, looked exactly the same as Nurse. Not very many surprises there in my opinion. By the way, that is a bit of a stupid hit coming through on the pallet. That is not the worry of Sakuda. I think they'll be quite happy about that. Actually, I don't think our Survivor, I don't think they make it to the God pallet downstairs, so they just have to play this pallet, which doesn't exist here. So yeah, that's a pretty early first down on the Dredge set. I think Sakuda's really set themselves up to something very good this trial.
Yeah, no, without that pallet that sometimes spawns in the locker room, but as we know with Midwich, your pallets are a bit of an interesting topic since with the changes you can sometimes get pallets like normal, but other times you won't have them. Like I know the downstairs 11 God pallet sometimes doesn't spawn, or I think it's the Medbay 5 pallet sometimes doesn't spawn as well, but like, unfortunately, we had a very quick down. Fortunate for security, because we definitely want that, especially since I'm a little bit intrigued of missing a particular perk that you typically would always see with the Dredge set, and definitely a very cheap perk to bring in. We don't have Sloppy Butcher, which I'm a bit surprised to see. We are seeing that very much similar build that we saw in the Nurse set. So obviously we can't really play into what you normally would expect to see for a Dredge set, which is that very heavy hit and run sort of playstyle, but I think we may have Tilling Blade as an add-on, so that might also be why we have opted to not have the Sloppy, but thanks to the confirmation from the streamer, we don't actually have Tilling Blades either, so I'm a bit surprised that no Tilling Blades nor no Sloppy Butcher, so it might mean that we are playing more into the playstyle of the early tunnel out, since as we know with the Dredge set, it's very commonly said that once that 3v1 starts, very, very high chances of no more gens being completed. And we have got our second stage already on the board for our tunnel out, so yes, we get a good gen pop at this stage, which is what you want for a Deathlock Survivor, but this is where it gets a bit dangerous. Good tipping onto the 12 gen, since Doomie is like a pre-locked locker means that we don't give away a early tag, but yeah, we're going to need to try and deny this tunnel out as long as we possibly can, because you don't want to be in the 3v1, especially at this stage of the trial, when I think that we only have one gen with decent progress, which was that the 12 upper gen, and I think we've cut off the unhook as well, potentially coming through from, I believe, Curdle on Nia, so good power stun. I think a bit of a reversal from what I mentioned early on, probably with the discussing hit that came through, a bit of a reversal, like, no, not this time. And we are starting to get a that jump rush that we need. I do hope that we see the unhook coming through very soon though, because yeah, I would be very concerned for the Artorias boys if we enter that 3v1 with 4 gens. Like, unhook comes through from Demi allowing another chase to come through from our tunnel out though, but we need to last here, and I feel like we should maybe be throwing some bodies over to try and extend this chase as long as possible, even maybe take it down. I think we did just see Brawlers rotating in to get a hit take so that this tunnel out does extend, so this is what we need to see. We need some human pallets at the moment so we make sure we cross to some safe areas. We have unfortunately crossed into one of our active gens, so are scared off for the time being, but I don't know, this killer does have a very high kill rate, and unfortunately we have pre-broken that bottom library door, so we are able to cut off our cadet from making it to the pallet downstairs here, and that will be the tunnel out secured at 3. And 2 of our survivors injured. Nightfall has also begun as well. The last time you want to be resetting is during Nightfall, since you get the killer instinct showing exactly where you are, and we have interrupted the reset here. Don't have Sloppy Butchers, so obviously the amount of reset that they get onto our survivors is still there, but an injured survivor in Nightfall and only having one other person that could potentially be here for some hit takes is a very scary position to be in. We have Ace now on the top side of the library, does have some pallets to work with, but also this is Doomby, and we are getting caught up on the ramp down, so we are going to be getting down at this point. It looks like we want more out of this Nightfall. This is where the momentum starts picking up. We're going to start getting a little bit sluggy with it, using turn back to knock the gen down towards our A-side back down into aggression. And I think this is our healthiest survivor as well. Yes, so we're at 3 gens and in a very dangerous situation at the moment at Tiebreaker, since we want the health states, but we no longer have health states, and we have a solid survivor, and we're still in the midst of life. We're having some good time still left over on it. We do manage to get the pickup, but this is definitely a dangerous position to be in if you are the Artorias survivors, I'd feel, especially with Nightfall. Yes, that's run out, but still, everyone injured, and 3v1 at 3 gens.
Yeah, extremely difficult for our survivors. very fortunate that they don't have to deal with the Sloppy Butcher, as you said, but it's still very difficult because even without Sloppy Butcher, having a good chase on King is close to impossible against an experienced Dredge, which I think Sakuta is, yeah, showing that. It's just the chases are satisfactory and enough to secure the injuries when they're required and, well, secure the tunnel out just like that. And it's yeah, very difficult for Artorias to continue the gen pressure when there's only 3 of them in the trial. So considering that there's 3 gens left for them to pop, I would say that the ideal world would be to get 2 done. Like in the Disneyland, you can get 2 done. 1 done is probably a bit more realistic, but 0 done is also a possibility for survivors. I don't want to jinx it because they did get a full reset right now, so it's looking somewhat promising in this 3v1. They do have a little bit of gen pressure we did see from Goblin again, but apart from that, not that much. Sakuta somehow finds stealthing Minato in the corner of Doomy. We're not allowed to stealth there, I guess, and this probably throws a bit of trouble for Artorias now because that is not supposed to be an injury that should have been given away so easily. Now Sakuta can just happily chase the survivor, knowing that there's not much gen progress on the board, you know, on the other gen. So that's a quick second hook for Sakuta. They're probably gonna head back. I guess would be, you know, try to deny the reset, but our survivors have probably. Oh, have they? Yeah, they did. They did split up, I think. So it's good for them that they've done that. But yeah, still very difficult, even though they do have perhaps a little bit of pressure alleviated because Sakuta hasn't been able to get Nightfall. But okay, just as I say that though, Nightfall is here, so yeah, probably even more problems for Artorias. And Body Block doesn't come through, Bolo goes down, and yeah, I think this looking even worse because there's no way Doomy makes anything safe from here. This pallet's no, this pallet has not been dropped, so that means Sakuta's just going to go away and try to take the penetrator, but this one being locked. Well done to Goblin there, and he can take the next chase, but whether this will last, I don't really know, because yeah, this bathroom pallet, oh, actually the bathroom pallet is up, so maybe Sakuta wants to leave this, but this is a couple of chases that haven't got their way in this slow roll is not what you want to be doing, Goblin, but at least they get to pick up in the distance, so maybe Ghosty, if they can survive this Nightfall without too many downs or injuries, yeah, downs mostly, maybe they can actually think of that starting to get that third generator.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I believe Doomy's in a very dangerous room. Yes, usually this pallet is incredibly strong, and most killers would opt to probably break this, but the Dredge doesn't have to worry about that with the Remnant 50s that they can do. And once that pallet is thrown, a Dredge will happily play a Remnant 50 around. Pretty much most pallets, unless they're a God pallet like the ones down on the 11 side, you can see all the Medbay 5 contingency as well. We have managed to outlast the Nightfall though, and this generator on our A side has a lot of progress at the moment. Goblin putting in some work on that motor as we do get the unhook onto Doomby as well, so we at least have the 3 survivors back up, but we are all injured, and we're going to have to go right back on top of Doomby and the person that unhooked. I'm unsure who it was, might have been Bralord, I would assume. We do have, thankfully, the gold 11 pallets to drop and make a lot of distance, but that just means that Sakuta will not be committing to this, knows that this generator on the XM has a lot of progress, and Bralord over a Goblin caught out in a rough spot. Eruption now applying to that generator, and this is where Sakuta can really ramp up that pressure to seal out the 4K3. Some TPs around the map. Yes, we don't have Nightfall just yet, but still massive traversal capabilities for this killer, and we found Bralord in the upper 12 on the reset onto Doomby, and get a quick down as well. Once again, I think, Gamer, we need to keep that pallet up, regardless of if we got solo. This is the second survivor removed from the trial, and Goblin is still stuck, so Sakuta gets to pick up, Bralord gets to pick up onto Goblin, so we have 2 of our sliders, but Nightfall has begun, and both of our survivors are injured, so that we haven't had time to reset, and we have to now get through an entire Nightfall or a chase long enough to be able to then actually make that last gen pop, but it's just going to be down to, I think, Goblin's next chase, and we only have this 1 pallet to play. Big swing through the pallet, but it does not connect, so that'll buy some more time. Bralord is probably cranking that gen, but Goblin just has no more to play with. And with Nightfall still having plenty of time left over, it's just going to be, can they pop that generator? I will try and stealth for another pickup onto Goblin. But we're in the 2v1, and as we can see, Brawler crouching in the hallway, straight into the killer's loving arms, and that will be a 4k3 for the killer, with by far still the highest kill rate. Not to be expected also being Lirasanmarine's pick. They definitely would be well versed to kill side, and I would assume this live is definitely going to be prepped for the Shadow of the Fog gameplay. So yeah, even without Sloppy, because I was a little bit worried without the Sloppy Glitcher not being able to play aggressive for that sort of hit and run, get everyone injured until a Nightfall starts, maybe have enough Sentry spell to play up as well to get those faster charges of Nightfall. Security's locked, and welcome back all back into the depths of the darkness that is the Dredge set. Very good result from Lirasanmarine Sakuda with a 4k3. As Tavi mentioned, a lot of 4k3s tonight. It's been good to see. But that does mean that Artorias' Brylord once again has to push for that 4k4 win condition, or at least the more optimal or more reasonable 4k3 tie condition. But obviously, this being Lirasanmarine's set pick, they are probably well versed in set and should be able to pop at least 3 generators. If we do manage to deny that tunnel early on, since we did have a very fast one leading up to that situation where you're stuck in that 1v3, and against the Dredge, that's basically all they wrote for gen pressure. And we've already called out 2 survivors very early on, Ridley making an appearance, Sloppy Butcher in hand, so that's going to make resets a bit more problematic in this set. But this is where things could go either way. I think we may have actually just had, unless I'm not hearing from it, maybe had balanced landing potentially on our core damage if that is legal. But once again, very high expense perk if it is allowed, and working the Walkers catching another survivor, our Renato, off guard. We might be getting our next tag through, trying to swing through the pallet to no avail. It does not quite connect, we have denied that second tag, and we've managed to double back the TB into the locker. But this is the sort of start you want in a direct set when you have very high win condition. Get some tags going during the Nightfall where you have that maximum ability straight off the bat, and try and get as many injuries as possible so that Sloppy Butcher can deny the slowdown. But an unfortunate TP to Basin does make Brawler have to go all the way up and might slow things down a little bit. But Tavia, 4k4 win con, as I mentioned, a lot of 4k3s. 4k4 when we are literally at the win con now. I think that we are playing for that 4k3, but even then, like, this is Lirasanmarine's stat pick, and 2 gens popping, as long as we have the 4 survivors up, I think is definitely a doable task for Lirasan.
Oh, absolutely. I think Barlow just kind of AFK for a sec. Yeah, Lery, they just have to pop a few gens. Can't be too bad when it comes to that. Also, this is when he's talking about bounce landing being allowed, it is absolutely allowed, and it is probably the strongest exhaustion perk on this map. Even better than Spin Burst, I would say, because of the fact that you can proc it whenever you want. When you're on the second floor, pretty much, if you position yourself correctly. And also, I think we also saw HNY's life there on the house of pallets on the clock tower area. So you see, we know 2 exhaustions are for the survivors. I guess Barlow's identified 2 exhaustions for the survivors, so you should know for next time when they are chased. But we are chasing someone who does not have an exhaustion. And they take a tag now, which is, I guess, fine, but is it really that fine? Because now my Sentry also here showing themselves giving a free tag as well, and what I thought would have been a great start for Leo, you just give away two more free tags right before Nightfall is hit again. I feel like it's a bit questionable. At least though, you find HXY again, they have a pallet, so they're not going to be injured as quickly. No light available though, but they're playing the pallet a bit patiently. We'll get tagged now, not really much. Here comes Nightfall again, and the first gen pops. Okay, first gen did pop. I was a bit concerned, Ghosty, if it didn't pop, then honestly, they could have been in a pretty bad spot. Second gen pops as well, so that's huge. Maybe the third too. No, it's not. If it didn't pop, like, that was just really concerning, because then maybe Barlow could make a comeback, considering there's 2 injured in the trial and 1 down. But at the moment, now we're just gonna get 2 downs. Maybe it's enough compensation? I don't think so though, because usually our survivors would think about not getting a gen done when there's 3 in the trial in this spot with 2 downs, but with 4 I think it's just not really that doable. So yeah, first look's coming on the board really late into the trial. Unless Barlord I think gets a miracle set of teleports and then continues going for the snowballs. That's not that 4K3 doesn't look too achievable. Bounce landing is also going to be propped here, but Barlord's going to try and cut it off and will get the tag through bounce landing, so that's pretty big. Unfortunately, going to be important in continuing this 4-3-1, but if the perks, if there aren't perks that can do it, I think Sloppy Butcher absolutely is the main villain, I guess, of the snowballing on Dredge. So yeah, 4 injuries in the trial, definitely something could still happen here. But a reset comes through. But still, one set of bad chases from Lery, and it could just be like a lot of downs there and then for Barlord. I think he knows this too, and is actually opting to pick. So that means they get all 3 resets, and yeah, I think that full reset there goes to, unless Lery makes a huge mistake, they really should be pumping the gen.
Yeah, no, we do have a fair bit of time still waiting for our Nightfall to be back online, but those full resets are going to be devastating for Barlord. Sloppy is putting in the work, obviously slowing them down, but now that they are all healthy, not only do they have the health points to get the unhooked onto Sentry, but they can also now more comfortably work the generators. And I can't remember what add-ons we have, but if Melting Anchor Skull was in play, it means we have all 4 survivors no longer injured and on hook, so that means everyone getting that extra build-up onto our Nightfall with Melting Anchor. So yeah, that's, I think, the potential game-deciding factor with having 3 survivors all being able to reset. We are able to get the unhook onto Sentry without any risks, and worst case scenario might have been a tag if Barlord was able to sniff him out of it sooner, but yeah, it's definitely not a position you want to be in as a Dredge. You want everyone to be remaining nice and injured. Great patience on the power drop by our Claudette Sakuda, I believe, making it back towards this very strong God power that, yes, Dredge and Remnant 50 can outplay, but being very greedy with the power. Not this time, though, with Bloodlust coming in, a very safe drop at the moment, and just holding the check spot as well. This is our balance landing game as well, so depending on how long this goes, we could potentially see them rotate upstairs to try and maybe get balance and play, but it looks like Barlord just knows they can't commit to the check for too long. The lock preventing them from the immediate emerge, so our survivor can get away scot-free, but this is where things, and I would say probably for the last time, could change for Barlord with Nightfall just around the corner. This is where it's the make or break, but I may have just cursed Barlord a little bit, but in saying that, like, with 3 healthy survivors, it was almost impossible. We basically needed to try and end the game with this Nightfall, but Lirasanmarine survivors has had enough gen pressure to be able to pop the 3rd gen of the trial before Nightfall began, and with those resets, the 4th one also coming through, we have 4 healthy survivors with 2 gens remaining. We're getting a little bit caught off on positioning though, so we'll be giving up a tag, and those are the mistakes I believe, Father, you'll probably mention that we need to avoid doing if we were still back in that sort of advantageous situation. Another free tag as well from Claudette, which I think they realised the set's 1 at this stage, so it doesn't matter too much. So we might see a little bit of some goofy moments happening since the set is 1, but obviously that means that we aren't quite done yet. We still have the potential for 2 more sets if Artorias can bring in the next set, and it looks like Lyris are at this point just calling it there. They know they've got the win, so they want to move forward onto the next set. All 4 survivors here. This is where I think that we're just wanting to go to the next set. Given the yoink off the generator to a potential beam save, but nope, not quite enough. Ace is jumping back onto the generator, makes up for the edge down for yoink as well. But that yoink secures a 4K2. Maybe trying to save some of the energy for the next set, which I'm excited for, being a Ghostface set, but at this point, it doesn't matter what the result will be, so maybe Lyra's just not too concerned about pushing for their best results, since they do potentially still have 2 more games to play if they don't take the Ghostface set, but with the win con in place, Barlord did what they could. It was looking pretty good for him for a moment, especially when we had all those injuries, Tavi, but Sloppy Butcher just not able to put in quite enough work for Barlord, and the Artorias just weren't able to get a reasonable enough win con for Brawler to play for, but it's not over obviously yet for the Artorias, whereas we still do have the Ghostface set, and if they do manage to take it, the Demogorgon Tiebreaker, so it's going to come down to, I'm going to assume Brawler, knowing that he's...
Yo everyone, welcome back to Lery and Artorias. So Lery did win the second set, so sorry, not second set. They won their second set, which was the third set. So now we're going into the fourth set of the Ghostface. I honestly have not seen Ghostface in quite a long time in competitive. It has been quite a while since I've seen this killer. Probably because, you know, the newer teams don't like playing it, and I haven't really seen too many experienced teams either play Ghostface. So yeah, a bit of a, I guess, a bit of an experience reliving the 2023 for me in this trial here, and it seems like wow, Lery's kind of caught a little bit off guard by this start. Dawg is actually going to swing through, does get the tag through the God Palette onto Royces. I guess that's not a God Palette on playing, but it's still a fairly strong palette to be playing. And yeah, pretty fast start for both our sides, I would say. The only thing is though, like, why wasn't okay, no, never mind. I'm lying through my teeth. But yeah, Sloppy Butcher, definitely good to see that come up. Pain Res, sorry, not Pain Res, Pop and Eruption. I'm getting these perks mixed up a little bit myself for some reason. Barlow's definitely picked the correct build in my opinion, but again, Ghosty, you've probably got your own opinions on it, considering that you've named yourself on Discord for this killer, so you take it away for that.
Yeah, no, I honestly couldn't disagree with you whatsoever, Tybee. This is a very standard build you would expect to see in a Ghostface set, even though people are like, oh, why do you bring Sloppy Butcher? You're an insta-down killer. It's the fact that you are still a stealth killer. Now, in saying that, this is a much faster start than what I was expecting from the Ghostface set. Normally, you want to play a bit slow, get some stalk builds up, especially with the Corrupt, get your stalk bars on multiple sides, and then maybe go for a play with some explosives. But not really what we're getting at the moment. It looks like Brawler is playing in for the mark. We should be able to get a full mark here and may do the dropping of chase. This is what I like to see. I like seeing survivors being put at that 99 region, which I'm pretty sure, even though the HUD is being an absolutely amazing, definitely no bugs in Dead by Daylight, but that should be a 99 store on our Renata, which is what we like to see, and a good setting point for the things. It looks like Brawler might be having a few little stutter issues here, which is a bit of a momentum swap, unfortunately, but yeah, this is what I like to see in a Ghostface set, even though I would have liked to see things be a bit sloppy, or sloppy, but simpler, slower. This is still a very good start nonetheless, especially with sloppy in play. You get those early tags, get some injuries or injuries on the board, and then you have the stealth from Nightshroud to play for. Playing very aggressive battle. We know we are 99, so we will be popping the mark before the pallet goes down, so now it's just, can we extend this chase while exposed for the 60 seconds? I am not going to be surprised if we see some hit takes coming through, because this is what you'd expect for a Ghostface set, some survivors coming in to be human pallets, since our survivor side should basically have little to nothing left, and especially on the side of Lirasanmarine, since they've been very expensive with build choices, so they're probably going to be down a little bit more. Might be seeing some of our survivors not really having too many perks to play with, but this is a bit of a... I'm a bit intrigued by this decision to drop chase on our marked survivor, since usually you don't want to burn a mark and not get the down. We do get a nice little stalk on our Jake though, so we do have the follow-up mark to chase for a longer time, since it's a more recent mark, so it might be the play that Brotherhood is going for currently, but we have managed to get 2 generators popped for no hook stages at this time, which, as much as this pains me to say because I love this killer, but Ghostface sets, you do expect pretty low stages or a lower result, with the killer being sadly very low on the killer list, even with Lery's treatment through as a map selection. But we've got a very nice hook to start things off with the basin on the top side, and unless the Lirasanmarine survivors have been able to break up this top side, if we have that sort of 3 to 4 gen on the side of the map, it would be really good, but it does look like we've been able to break a lot of these top side generators out 3 gen more openly towards the bottom side. But I don't expect Brawler to really leave the main room side that much, since, yeah, we're going to need to try and get as many stages as we can. This killer doesn't really get too many as is, so we will be seeing probably a lot of trying to secure second stages, and hopefully the quickest time out we can. We are fully getting our resets in, which is good. Sloppy Butcher doing the work, making sure it takes a little bit more time. But yeah, this is Not what I was expecting. I was expecting a very much slower start to the set, but overall still a good position for Brilo to be in for the first Ghostface set.
Well, absolutely. He's kind of chilling right now. Has the down, has a bit of stalk. It's unfortunate for me. I'm not too knowledgeable about Ghostface sets, so like I don't really know exactly when people get 99 or like exactly what the progress bar after how much stalking is. So it is unfortunate that you can't, or I can't really get that confirmation, but I guess yeah, you're more knowledgeable than me, Ghosty, of course, on that. Bralo's actually opting to tunnel here. I'm not sure if this is the correct play. I guess maybe if there's no other survivor, it could be a very, very justified play, but I think that it is very difficult to, force the tunnel out, especially when the other two survivors in the trial are up, are still healthy. Yeah, that's Sakuda taking the hits. Play for me to say that, but yeah, our tunnel out's gotten away. It's chilling right now and kind of just doing gens, doing resets, doing anything productive, which is what you really need to do in the Ghostface set. Although, okay, Bralord is committing a lot onto not the pickup on baseline, which is very strange to me because I think it's just wasting time, in my opinion. Ghosty, again, he's just chasing Sakuta here. Like, what's the what's the end goal here? I guess he gets some stalk onto Voices. I guess the meter goes up now. I don't know why I didn't show before. Maybe it's just me being weird. But yeah, like it somehow needs to get a bit of leverage onto this game again through this, the perks that he's brought, which is completely achievable. It's just that our survivors seem pretty aware of his position the whole time, so there's not really any free way to get tags at the moment. Though, okay, we have caught out HNY, but there's a pallet and window around here, so it seems safe for the time being. So takes it down, okay, and we take the second hook, but there's again another gen done in the distance, so it's good pressure by Lery to keep on. Yeah, just to keep up the gens and force Varlord maybe have to defend the gens more instead of going for the tunnel out. And yeah, I think it's still kind of standard Ghostface territory at the moment. It's just what will happen from here. Yeah, what will happen from here, I think, is the important question, because if Varlord can get the tunnel out quickly, maybe something can happen, but if not, then it looks pretty difficult.
Yeah, no, I'm not in disagreement with that we probably should have looked for that down on the basin, but a nice little cheeky lurking of the gen catches our ace off guard. I'm still on par that I think that just taking that trade at the basin hook was a good play, because once again, like before I mentioned, this killer does struggle with getting stages on the board, so any freshes you can sort of get, and especially in a strong position like the basin, is a good play overall, especially when you have very limited stalk across the board. It might be why you didn't notice much stalk, because we basically had none. We had like the sliver of a stalk on our ace before, but nothing whatsoever that you would incline to say is worth like saying it's stalk. And a nice little reveal from our quartet as well. This is what you want. Keep the Ghostface out of power, remove that stealth element from this killer, and just not allow them to get any exposes happening, because that's when things get problematic and you do have to typically send a survivor out to try and help the marked survivor to not get insta-down. And that's when you, I swear, I think Ghostface sets are where you see like a lot of the altruistic playstyles trying to really support each other with hit takes, not only to delay that down on a potential marked survivor, but also to remove stalk. But our Claudette getting caught up here, but I think, oh, brother, a bit of a short, long swing there does not connect, but Claudette does not have really a lot to play. They decide to go around the house, so this will be another fresh hook down. I think another pick in might have been okay as well, since we're never going to make it back to that hook, and this will be another fresh hook on the board. The tunnel out, I understand, like especially if we manage to get our Jake very quickly, like tunnel out is a good play overall, but we've somehow also managed to catch Renato off guard as well, so we now have two fresh hook survivors on the ground, and all of our survivors are injured, so yes, we don't have much stalk that will be left over on the board, but this is still actually a relatively good position to be in for Brylord. We do see that we do get to pick up onto Claudette, so we are back in the situation of all of our survivors are injured. We have a basin hook, which is a good hook to be in, but now we're playing the dangerous game of everyone injured with Sloppy against a stealth killer. Obviously, no mark on the board is a bit of a scary position to be in, and always makes me panic a little bit, because you always want to have at least like some stalk on some of the survivors throughout the trial, but with Sloppy, because it was a perk that I felt didn't make sense on Ghostface till I realized you don't have to opt in for those marks. You can just play the advantage of a stealth killer with Sloppy and everyone injured and just go around the map getting downs while everyone's still injured, not able to quickly reset with Sloppy in play. So we've got another down onto our Claudette, our remaining fresh hook of the trial, and we've also managed to push away the rotate for the basement unhook. And unless our ace can have a relatively good chase here, this could be problems for Lirasanmarine, which, don't get me wrong, when I say problems, I'm not saying like Lirasanmarine have played as bad or anything, but a 4k1 on Ghostface is not usually a result that you would typically expect to see, and you'd be expecting more stages with 3 to 4 outs at this point, but we are going to get our second stage on our Renato down in the basement, which puts us in a very comfortable position. We're not really giving much space for the Lirasanmarine survivors to really reset, and we're holding on to this basement quite nicely, so I do expect Lirasanmarine to be able to still get one more gem popped, as long as we get some resets, which we can see the resets coming through now. But then you're in that dangerous territory of, okay, we've gotten our resets, but we can now not afford to really get stalked, because then we can be insta-downable. So it's difficult to play that balance between resets and keeping gem pressure up, and a hook at like basement can be very problematic. So one thing Lirasanmarine do have on their side is they've got all stalk removed apart from that very nice 99 onto Claudette, and a bit of like info there for you. Type of 99 is just basically when you're at that point like we said with Claudette. Yes, you can, if you know your timing, and sometimes I'd say without the add-on Philly, because Philly just gives you that 10% increase to stalk, get a full solid grey circle of 99, which I would say I think most people call the true 99. That is what I would say is the best instance of this is what a 99 is. So Claudette, even when reset, will be basically instant markable, but brothers got to be a little bit careful that we don't accidentally mark them in the wrong position. But we've caught Claudette over on the library side. Thankfully, we have a hit from our Jake to be able to get out of there, but with that all being said, Renato has died in basement, and we still have Claudette who is marked and all 3 survivors injured. So honestly, Tavi, Brawler's in a very, very good position right now, just since if we have a quick down onto our Claudette here, this could be where problems really start to begin. Big swing through the pallet, but it does not connect, but without the resets coming through, we just have nothing to play for. So Claudette will be going down. This could be our 4th pressure on the board. We do have good progress on this TV room gen, but Bralord once more really playing into this slug, keep everyone injured gameplay, which I love to see. Trying to play a bit of a mind game to see if someone comes in for an aggressive pick, not knowing that Bralord is still nearby, playing very well with the stealth element of this killer, but we can't lurk for too long because we know that that TV room gen does have progress. But overall, this is what I would expect to see from a Ghostface set, apart from my opinions of I would have liked to have seen the start being a bit slower, not getting caught out over the scene, even though obviously 2 free tires is still very nice and definitely worth taking. You don't really want to get revealed from power early on because it's a big setback for a Ghostface, since you don't want to get revealed at all at this start of the game. You want to get your stalk built up, make it so that a bunch of survivors are insta-downable, but we are getting a nice down onto our ace, but that has cost the Brawler to reset onto the Jake, and I would presume, yes, Claudette is shortly after. So with this hook, Tavi, I would love to see Brawler just get a full commit down onto the Claudette, down them, and just literally stand in their face for a while. I'd be very happy with that.
Yeah, I think that would be completely fine. Like, it would be, I guess, like, I think a little bit risky. Oh, actually, it does spot out Sakuta here again, just on the edge map. Like, I think it's like maybe like a little bit risky if they do something like double or gen. Oh, okay, never mind. He spots out 2 survivors trying to cross. Like, yeah, it's just really difficult. Now that the survivor is dead, I don't really exactly know how it happened, because it's just maybe they didn't get the reset in time. Maybe they're scrambling a little bit too much, and now it's just HNY is the last one up and standing, which kind of just secures a 4k1 for Warlord, which is a very, very solid result. I do believe that the Ghostface set is quite difficult to play, so if Artorias has been practicing this set, then they might be able to, well, they should be able to get outs if they play properly, but it again, very, very difficult set to play, I think, on the survivor end to play without mistakes. But I guess somehow HMY gets, I mean, with this unhook, I was going to say he's dead, but he is not dead, and it's actually Voices somehow taking the aggression away, and Sentry just gets picked up in time to delay Royce's death. So I guess this trial keeps on continuing. Sakuta is a freshman, so there's not really any way to okay, force Royce is not able to get away from this. But this last gen is actually close to popping, and it seems like Barlord wants to pick up here. So there's a very, very small opportunity that they can get away with this gen, but I think Barlord is starting to realize that it is probably being worked. So it's close to being a 4K 0, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, Barlord can interrupt the gen in time. Here comes a pickup, and HNY is not able to get a gen done just as of yet. Which, by the way, actually, now HNY is around this tile. I'd like to say, what the hell is this tile? What the hell is this tile? Like, why is there one door, and then why is there like the biggest possible lump around the door? Like, you know what I mean? Like the god window, is usually that window, but then with you know, connected to that. But then this is like this window. Yeah, anyway, it's ridiculous. So this map can be a little bit funny. I don't think that used to spawn before. This must have been a new map R&D thing, but it doesn't matter, I guess. It was not abused too much by survivors. Barlord gets away with a 4K1, as Sakuta probably won't be able to get away in this chase. But okay, maybe we're looping a little bit more. Maybe we are doing a good job for the time being. But yeah, 4K1. Nice result from Barlord. I think, yeah, 4K1 without Pain Resonance definitely something you don't see that often, because Pain Res is quite a popular pick on Ghostface. I think like nearly all Ghostface pick Pain Res unless there's a more broken combination available, but usually that's not the case. So yeah, considering that Lery don't have Sloppy Butcher, maybe that influences how the set is played, because that means they won't have the healing slowdown, but they probably will have like Pain Res pop turn back, or like Pain Res eruption turn back, which is equally as scary sometimes if the gens can just go.
Welcome back, everyone, to the fourth set of the battle between Lirasanmarine and Artorias for the last game of the semi-finals for SewnangelSeason Season 1 budget battles. Barlord putting on a bit of a show there, getting a very strong, honestly, result for this killer with a 4K1. So Artorias now need to just pop 5 generators to keep themselves in this specified matchup. And we can't let 5 gens pop. I believe if Lirasanmarine take the set, they are winning the match as a whole, so the pressure's still going to definitely be on our Artorias survivors at the moment. But we do manage to get the reveal onto X-Tap, and I think I have seen in the past some of X-Tap's Ghostface gameplay, so I'm very excited for this. It does look like we are running the Olsen's Wallet, I believe it's called, from rough memory, to be able to get power back when we do break pallets or breakable walls, which I don't think there's really any breakable walls on Lery, so it's going to be mainly just when we break our pallets, we get our power back immediately. But with that stalk built up on Umbrella, we don't want to commit to that, since we want to build up our stalk. This is what I like to see, just slowly building up stalk. Would like there to be not as much chases happening, but Doom is in a bit of a precarious spot, since we can sort of just play that up, down, crouch, whiz, crouch, and build up our stalk and put Doom in a bit of a rough spot. But what concerns me a little bit is, as we saw in the previous game, we did have Sloppy Butcher, which, yes, to some might be weird with the whole, yes, Ghostface and downs, but is still a phenomenal perk on this killer. But we have swapped it out for turn back the clock. I'm wondering if maybe Lyra's resources with the fundings is running a little bit low here, because Sloppy would have been a definitely good shout here, but also maybe just want that extra gen regression, since they are having to play for that 4K2 result, which is a lot more difficult on a killer like Ghostface than other killers that we've seen on tonight's show. But this is a good start. We've got some good stalk on both Doomby and Brawlord. We found Brawlord at the God palette, so we're not going to really be able to do too much here. Might have to pop our Explodes and other things. But we also find our Claudette here as well. This is where things get a little bit dangerous, because we don't have to worry about building up stalk on Claudette. We could just take a quick M1 and continue to chase it, or try and build up the stalk on them as well. And Brawlord, this is what I was talking about, Tavi, is perfectly 99. This is the prime example of the perfect 99 that I would love to see, but we are going to be taking a tag onto Claudette. But overall, this is a good start, and more what I was expecting to see in our first Ghostface set, with playing that slow, methodical, build up our stalk, and then go for some multiple back-to-back insta-downs.
It's definitely a strategy that is scary. If the survivors are aware of it, though, they will try and make sure Briarlord is in a safe position whenever. Yeah, look at that. He's actually rotating around the map right now. They're all rotating around the map right now. It's you know, maybe a little bit unsure of where Xtap is. Yeah, it's like having a 99 survivor. It's kind of like against an experienced team, honestly, can be a bit of like a not like a bad thing, but just like a what do you call it? Like like falsely good, like a bit of a like a fake advantage. Because again, if they know about it, then it could get just like they go in like they reveal and then go into a hit take when they're 99 like that. Like look at that, Varlord beautifully coming in for a body block for 99. Then Xtap just won't be able to do too much here until stalemate is broken or he gets the power back. But I guess now he's just waiting for Varlord to make the play because Varlord's 99 here. Xtap gets the power back and Varlord's down on the ground if yeah, if this will. But yeah, that's a good amount of time being bought. You know, Varlord came in while 99 still gets value out of being healthy, protecting Doomby. Although Doomby is actually still around this area getting comms from Barlord as to where Xtap is, so he gets away safely, and the first gen pops with this. Which yeah, good work by our survivors. Good kind of recognition, I think. That well, I guess they could have just not sent in Barlord, but again, at least they got the value from him being 99 and still healthy for that extra time. For Doomby staying alive, and yeah, that's of course very good there. So, yeah, it does kind of suck. You know, going back to what you're saying, it does sort of suck that Xtap doesn't have Sloppy Butcher. I feel like that $1 would have gone a long way, considering that Dredge and Ghostface were on the books or on the cards for tonight. I think Sloppy, yeah, a central pick on both the sets against an experienced team, but perhaps Xtap is just a bit more favoring towards. Well, okay, let's just save that dollar for something else. Perhaps maybe I could just deal with 4 regression perks and chill with that instead. So yeah, kind of good. Yeah, again, still kind of good stuff for survival. Oh dear, that is not where you want to be found out. Goblin though does get the what do you call it? Does get the reveal in time, and I feel like Xtap should have just taken the M1 there. It's just a free M1. You know, you force them to reset, force 40 seconds of time away from our survivors, and that's at least in my experience, that's better than getting a 99 insta down. But it's all good. He's just gonna leave and check on the gens instead. Maybe that investment comes back and gives him some extra time later for Xtap. Yeah, topside though, I think most of the resources are still here. So as long as the survivors are kind of stealthing, I've got like pseudo stealthing, like stealthing to see where the Ghostface is. As long as they're doing that and they don't get caught out in a bad position, they should be able to just use the resources on the top side. And yeah, Xtap's not really able to find anyone. Survivors probably know where he is now, and the whole trial's reset, I guess. So yeah, good job to Artorias yet again. They're still wow, they are stealthing a lot, which is understandable, but again, Ghosty, that tells me they don't know where Xtap is. Otherwise, they would be cranking those gens.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with this play, but it is a bit revealing that they actually are unaware of where Xtap is. Normally, if you don't know where the Ghostface is, you want to have full knowledge of where they are so that you don't get caught off guard. And Ghostface's biggest factor of that sort of surprise jump scare killer, because that's the main thing that he has to really play for, is what he needs. But now we've been revealed of our location, but another beautiful 99 put in place. So once again, we may see that coming in for the hit takes, forcing, especially if we have 2 survivors marked, is that you down there instead and allow our survivor to slip away, because losing a mark is very, very punishing for this killer. You definitely don't want to be losing your marks once you put them in place, because you obviously have to build it up first, and then losing your mark survivor, it can be very devastating for a Ghostface. But we have found Doomby up along the top side again. Not going to go to the full commit on the master, just going to take a quick M1 onto Doomby. And they have a pretty decent palette. This is one of your better ones that you have on Larry's, but not able to play it well enough. And we do hear Aquadet with eruption in the background. We also found our ace lurking for that potential palette save or beam save. And they were 99, so this is going to be a second down for Xtap. This is what you like to see, and this is where the turns of the tide could potentially sway into their favor with 2 down survivors. Yes, we don't have Sloppy, but 2 down survivors, this is what you need. Start getting those hooks up. We don't have pain race though again, which I guess it's still grinding my gears a little bit. The same with like the sloppy butcher not being in play. 2 perks I think that are quite essential for a killer like Ghostface, even though with that being said, I do love Turn Back the Clock still. I will say it every time I see this perk that it's one of my all-time favorite perks. Oh no, well that we cannot be getting caught off like this. This is not the situation nor time to be getting caught off when we need to be rotating for an unhook, which I believe we will be going for, but we're going to cut them off from being able to rotate more up into the map, and now it's going to be down to Ace to take some hits for their teammate on the Claudette to get away from here, but once again, somehow I'm not seeing that. I don't know if a lot of people know. We're not tapping power to phase through these body blocking survivors. Like, yes, obviously, you're not going to be able to stay in us if you want, but it does mean that that survivor's body blocks just become null and void because you can phase through a survivor. Since you lose collision, kind of like Myers for another example of when they're stalking with power, you have no longer any collision. So we've just given away an extra tag basically, and Brawler had also been tagged, and we do have a very nice power to play. It connects to a very strong window. But if Brawler goes down here, this will be a very big problem that we saw in the previous game with Lery on Survivor. They were all injured and it just put so much pressure. We still have this pallet as well, except I'm sorry, but we need to break this pallet. We can't really play it even with 1450s, but I understand that. No, we don't get it down onto Brawler. Missing the short swing, allowing Brawler to make it up to the top of Main. Ed's dropping down, so May costs it down here, and we do get it, but I was about to say we need to break that pallet because that pallet connecting into the window with the main building loop being a very strong loop if you know how to play correctly, running it all the way to the backside is a very strong resource to have. But this will be Brawler's second stage, very close to this gem pop on this television room main, I guess you say the equivalent of like a main building generator, but that is going to be getting hit with pop and eruption getting applied to it. So our survivors did get a reset in the background as well, which is what we need, but that reset is for nothing. We get a tag back onto our Claudette, so two of our survivors are once again injured. But we can't really afford to leave this top side too much because we know this TV room gen has a lot of progress, but the Artorias survivors still are in a fairly good footing. But with no stalk on the board, I'm a bit concerned. If we get some stalk back up, this will be good, or really play into that stealth aspect, and with the gens more oriented towards the bottom. Yes, losing this TV room gen is not the greatest, but I think we should be playing more towards that bottom side of the map since that is where most of our gens are. And if we get a down in that bottom side, it could be a relatively comfortable position since we do need that 4K2 result to be able to get the win. And I understand now, like, a secure here would be really good, making it a 3v1. Looks like we get a reset onto Claudette. Looks like we are opting just to make sure we have some healthy survivors while our ace is working their generator, but we've got to be careful here and not get caught off, and this is what you can't be doing. We can't be giving free stalk to the Ghostface, especially if you're one of the only remaining healthy survivors, because obviously once you're exposed, you are then insta-downable, and that is a very nice amount of stalk to have. I wouldn't say it'll be the equivalent of a full 99, but still, that's the sort of stalk levels you would like to see, since a quick link stalk will pop the mark on our Claudette. So I think Artorias are still in a relatively comfortable position, even with letting Brawler go down, and unfortunately our aces had no idea where the Ghostface is. Maybe we just missed comms or just lost track of where they were. This will be another down and another death hook survivor with still 4 gens on the board, and also being hooked next to one of our active gen. I think Lery could potentially take the set here with pop beam applied to this gen. No, not applying pop, okay. I think this would be a more than welcome getting the pop, but looks like we'll just turn back in instead to check on our other generators. If our Claudette gets caught out here, and Doomby, like I said about Claudette, we can't be given free salt. If Claudette or Doomby get exposed here, this is where problems come through, and I think Lery could potentially just take the match right here and now.
I feel like it's, like, in my experience, 3 survivors getting 3 gens done is a very unlikely scenario. And it actually does find Doomby. Doomby is not getting tanked for because Goblin is not close enough. They're just going to run through and go down. So yeah, another down on the board. Pretty much that just equates to a long-term injury in this round. But yeah, except, yeah, real stuff right here. Ghostface stuff. I don't really know where it went wrong for Artorias. I feel like their start was really strong. The first down happened, I think, when the first gen popped, so I would have thought that they would be able to get more gens done before they all die, but I guess not. Goblin goes down, and Exap probably a bit happy about this result, because yeah, they didn't pick this set. Maybe a bit of revenge on on the Cannibal set, but Yeah, now Doomby is probably gonna reveal the location with the gen. Should show that. Oh, actually 99ing the main gen. I like this play. I very much like this play. But it's, yeah, again, very, very difficult to go come back. Okay, now pops the gen, never mind. But yeah, they need to pop, what, 2 gens in this spot to secure a tie. Doomy's gonna try and make it through, but Xtab's just saying, you know what? Actually, no, Doomy's just making whips around. You know, Artorias are accepting their fate, and that's gonna be 4K3 for Xtab, which means that Lery are going into your grand finals, winning this best of 3-1. So I guess, yeah, well played to both teams. I think it's actually a very strange set of trials, I'd say, like 4K3, and then a lot of 4K3s. Yeah, a lot of 4K3s tonight. Actually, I think there's a 4K3 every single set tonight, which is, yeah, quite unusual. But yeah, 3-1 to Lery, so well played to Lery. Yeah, Artorias, unfortunately, we have to say goodbye, but